Yeah, but losing 42 pounds in 21 days, right? Coming out where I had a 38-inch waist when I went in and came in with like a 33, 34-inch, but lifting, I was seeing changes, but then it took, hey, including more protein in my diet, right? So as I started putting in 200 grams, she wants that quick, hey, can I lose 20 pounds by taking a little fucking pill?
So just for you guys at home that understand this, I will forever believe that just getting in the food, and good food, obviously, consistently beats anything that I have seen through the decades I've been here on the fad diets, or this is bad for you, this is bad for you, bread is bad for you. No, it's not. I've seen all this stuff. It's just being consistent, and it comes down to just day-to-day consistency wins over everything that I've seen in through my career. And I'm not just talking about myself. It's just for every single individual I've ever come through with me in this journey since the late 1970s is the same thing. I saw where they slipped, where they fell off. The fad diet, I'm going to do this trick. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this quick run to the top of the hill, and then their career's over. And the one thing,
anything on the fad diets and a lot of stuff, like if you look at like the people, we have a lot of people come to us and say, hey, I've been on Jenny Craig or I've been on this. I don't want to name any other names, right? But like these diets, okay? And they work. I'm not necessarily saying that's a fad diet, but a lot of people have this, when they come off, they have the biggest yo-yo of anything, yep. Right? And that's worse for you than just being fat, okay? Because when you're coming up and down and like all your organs and everything else, if you go up and down and you put on, I'll use my mom as an example. For my 30 plus 40 years, right, with her, great. All excited to lose 60 pounds. As soon as she comes off, right, there's no like maintenance, whatever, Jenny Craig or Nutrisystem, whatever it is. It's like something happens and it becomes almost like an excuse, but then it goes back to being a crutch. She has to have that Jenny Craig. Well, no, if you can just really be consistent doing what you need to do and focus, you're not going to have that up and down. And I think that's one of the biggest things that a lot of people, if they just focused on just calories, right? Because it's calories in, calories out, and not necessarily saying every piece of food is equal, like processed is a lot different. But if you're just doing a diet based on what you talked about in whole foods, and even I'll call it like cheat whole foods a little bit, right? And you can be consistent and know how many calories you're taking in and what you're burning on an output, then you're either in a deficit or you're in going up, right? So from that standpoint, but a lot of people I don't think want to understand that, and they want to do what you just said, take the magic pill. They just want, like my mom, right? She calls me and she's asking me about these supplements. I'm like, Mom, you got a heart condition, you got this other stuff. What the hell? Let me see this label. What are they telling you? Like, it's, oh, you're going to lose 20 pounds. I'm like, okay, what are you going to do? Well, she can't exercise because she's limited by her legs and stuff, but they're telling her taking this pill, and then they look at this pill and it's got like different things that she can't address based on her heart condition, right? But again, she wants that quick, hey, can I lose 20 pounds by taking a little fucking pill? And it's totally, I don't know, we're all crafted out there by all these quick fixes. And
well, I got to stop you for a second there, because you're a guy that's incredible shape, just incredible shape. One of the most consistent training guys I know, that always stays on point, that eats extremely well. So how is it fair for you to tell us how to eat like this if you've never seen the other side?
No, I've seen the other side.
Wait a minute, what is that? What?
So,
there's
growing
no
up for up until I was 35 basically years old, so all through college, all through adolescence and stuff, nickname was Lumpy. I weighed 252 pounds. The most I ever weighed is probably 260. But again, when you're taking that 260 into account, it's not a Michael Hearn 260, right? It's Lumpy 260, 38-inch plus waist, fat, but again, athletic. I played junior hockey, all this stuff. I didn't understand anything on the diet, right? I thought training was, hey, going in, let's bench press and stuff. But then calories, I was eating Big Macs, drinking, all the different things, and there wasn't any offset, right? And
you were really training and athletic, because I know about your background. I know you were athletic, very athletic and active, but you were still heavy. But we just kind of said calories in, calories out.
Yeah, so a lot of that goes back to exactly what I just talked about at the start, right? Processed food, okay? Taking in, like, I'm talking 2 Big Macs, right? I haven't seen a Big Mac in over 20 plus years. But again, anything like not understanding really what food can do, taking no micros in, right? So everything that I take today, I spend probably $700-800 a month just on vitamins, right? To me, and I've been doing that for years now. But again, wasn't taking any micros in, had no idea about anything from a blood or hormone panel, right? So it really took me at 18 years old before I went to college getting severe mono, and it was probably from partying and stuff, where I was in intensive care for 21 days.
Did you say foam party?
No.
Okay, I was sorry. I went back to my early years. Sorry. Go on.
Yeah, but losing 42 pounds in 21 days, right? Coming out where I had a 38-inch waist when I went in, came in with like a 33, 34-inch, but I'm talking about lost a lot of muscle, right? Like couldn't stand up in the shower, couldn't do anything for a long time. But again, from there, that wasn't really the thing that even sent me to good health, but it was, hey, I'll call it skinny fat then, right? Went to college, started.
Explain, just don't go over it because I don't think these people understand two things real quick. And then we'll go into the next stage. These young kids that believe that you can eat pizzas and hamburgers and stuff and still train and get in shape. And then the second thing you said, a skinny fat. Please explain what a skinny fat.
So skinny fat for me is someone who is probably not taking in the proper amount of good calories, right? Not enough protein. So I'm soft all over. I just have, I'll call it like basically not fat, but not any definition, any athletic looking, right? Just I'll call it like you're there, okay? You're not toned. You're just sort of, it is what it is, right? 34-inch waist, whatever, great. So some people say, they're saying, hey, what's wrong with that? To me, though, that's like mediocrity, okay? It's where, so for me, I then in college started learning a little bit more. I lived for 2 years with a amateur bodybuilder, good friend of mine, became a roommate in college, Kevin, and just learned more on the training side, but still didn't understand fully because at that point, he was a bodybuilder that used a lot of additional substances, right? Which, again, I never touched because I have an addictive personality. I didn't want any of that because I knew if I got into that, it was going to be, hey, we're only going to go one way. So, but then I learned more and more about nutrition, right? I needed more protein. And when I started taking in more protein and I was training, because I was training hard, I was training the same way that I train like with you and whatever definition of hard that is. But again, lifting, I was seeing changes, but then it took, hey, including more protein in my diet, right? So as I started putting in 200 grams, back then I was probably right around 200 pounds. So I was taking in 225 grams of protein a day. I started seeing changes. And then I learned, I was like, it was almost like an addiction where I started seeing changes. So I wanted to know more and more and more, right? I go back to even like, I've told you this before, like seeing you train, right? There's certain people back then that I was watching train and looking and like, shit, that's what I want to be like, right? Seeing these magazines, Muscle Mag, Robert Kennedy, all the different old magazines, all posters everywhere. And then I learned more and more and more. And that was, again, about making small changes. And then moved down to Texas, have businesses, right? Same thing, sort of, I'll call it skinny fat, a little bit toned, maybe an ab or two, okay, seeing, but nothing really happened until I remember, whatever, turned 30 plus years old, 34 years old. We were somewhere, New Year's Eve, we were in Colorado. And I said, hey, I'm going to do a men's physique competition. And everyone's like, yeah, ha, ha, ha. I'm like, that was the last time I ever drank. Like, I'll have a glass of wine, but I'm talking, so for me, it's been 13 years that I haven't touched a drink pretty much. And I just made that decision. And when I made that decision, one thing with me, when I make a decision, I'm all in, right? So that was when I really took diet. So I started with, hey, 8 ounces of protein every single meal, right? Going to more vegetables, pulling out carbs, pulling out a lot of the refined and processed, not eating sweets. And I did that for the first one, and I was addicted. I did my first show, got my butt kicked, but I was like, I don't know, 7th, 8th position, men's physique bikini, okay, for guys, whatever you want to say. Not today's account. Today, friggin' everyone that's on the men's physique stage could also compete in open probably. But again, from there, I was more addicted, right? So from there, I went and did a national qualifier show. I got qualified. The next show I went and I won. And I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. Went to Pittsburgh and I was like, holy crap, if I'm going to stand on stage with these guys, again, it was more addiction, right? Like more training, more nutrition, learning more things, learning, like for me, carb cycling, right? Learning how to make adjustments, learning how to deplete my water for before a show, etc. A lot of different things, right? And fooling around with that. So trying through trial and error. So when people say, holy shit, you're in great shape, what do you take? Food, okay? But again, they don't understand that it's been a 20-year process, 30-year process, right? But really, I say for me, 15 years of solid progression to where I am today, to the point of after that, if I wanted to stand on stage with those guys, I had to be of that quality, right? So again, making more. And so to me, it's about the biggest change for me was learning the different components in diet and how they worked for me. And that's a key thing, because a lot of people, they see what they want, but they don't understand how it works internally for them, right? So when someone says, hey, I'm competing, well, if you're not just competing with yourself, who cares what's out there? Because if you don't understand how, like, I don't know, use the example, some people might say, hey, keto diet. Well, for me, I know that I can't function on a keto diet. I have a certain epigenetic thing that's like a 14% of all the population, but my body doesn't process fats exactly the same as everyone. So if I went on that, I have a total opposite effect. But I only knew that because through my hormone panels and stuff, right? My first hormone panel, I remember going to a doctor, and like from a normal GP, you get a 3-page whatever, but from a hormone doctor, it's like 24 pages.
Right.
And you have shit that you don't even want to know, right? Biomarkers, all this other stuff. But again, understanding that to then take what food works for me and make those changes and integration to move it forward.
A couple things you said through this discussion, great points, I think, is, and I hope these people hear this. You kept saying something about food and about medication, food and medication, food and medication. And I think that you and me are on the same page. You and I don't think food is like medication. We believe food is the medication.
100%.
And that everybody that's out there with issues, a lot of those issues can be, if not completely erased, at least lowered quite a bit by using food properly.
But that's also, to me, why nothing was talked about for the last, like, over 2 years, right? If we had really looked at like how we could have helped a lot more people, it's about putting out proper health, proper nutrition, but it wasn't that. It was just, we want to have a world that is basically fed that pill or that lotion or the potion, right? To get all our aches and pains done. And it's also, if it makes money. The other part's not the sexy part. Putting food that works and helps your body is not the sexy part to a lot of people, right? So I think that's got a masked over a lot of the time for, it's basically a marketing purpose, because it's not, I'll call it like a necessarily for profit, padding people's pockets a lot of that time. But I truly, and think just from my own accord that food is medicine, because knock on wood, I'm not sick a lot of time. And Mike's going to probably say, oh, no, that's bullshit. Mona would say too, because every time I come out to your place, I'm sick. So, but
because you ran down, man, yeah. You work harder than all of us.
Again, from eating like certain foods, honestly, like I'm pretty good. And when I do get sick, you recover quickly, right? Even like going through the last crap over the 2 years, I've had it twice. Okay. I won't say the word.
I hope nobody understands that we're not saying because you eat healthy and because you train, you will never get sick. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that you're better going this side than that.
I look at it as a car. If I'm always putting ultra in my car and treating my car like for every mileage update, I need oil changes and everything, right? If you're doing all those things, it's going to take a lot more to break that car down over time. It's the same with your body. If you're eating healthy and you're eating that, what you said, consistently, the same product, right? Then that's like almost self-medicating based on what you're doing, and you're going to learn what works for you, and you can make little tiny adjustments along the way. Hey, maybe I need a little bit more of this month because I am feeling run down, right? Or there's a lot of different pieces. And then the other thing I think is the factor is supplementing your macros with your micros, and the micros and macros together.
Explain that to them.
So when I say micros, I'm talking about like, I'll call it vitamins and a lot of just over-the-counter herbal supplements, right? And that's like a lot of people, I think a lot of people could benefit from even just like taking simple stuff like vitamin D, right? Like vitamin C, zinc, okay? A vitamin B, I take turmeric, I take a bunch of different things. NAC is one of the most important things, but again, why they tried to ban it last year, because it actually works and you could pick it up over the counter. So there's a lot of different things there, but again, people go, when I tell people I spend $600, $700, $800 a month on vitamins, like what the hell? But again, if I told them that one of those vitamins was $800 and it was going to fix them in 2 days, right? If they took that one pill, they paid $800. So again, it's just a lot of different things, but you have to find out what works for you. And from that, it's through trial and error. But there is, I think, a baseline that would be awesome if everyone had to take, right? Because there's vitamin D, I don't care who you are, certain dosages and stuff are going to have an impact on you, right? Zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D.
I got to stop you for a second because this Jeff and I have been really diving into when he gets to work. Jeff, for everybody that's here, is the co-host. And what he did this morning when we got in is I gave him a little homework every morning. And this morning's homework was pros and cons of cod liver oil and the pros and cons of vitamin D. And I said, find out all the side effects and negativity from cod liver oil or from vitamin D. And so that was just today's. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I think, Todd, you could understand this, and I hope everybody else does. I said, give me the negatives. What are they saying is negative about these things? Vitamin D, cod liver oil, things that we should all be taking in on a daily basis. Vitamin D, very basic. So